Hello and welcome everyone to my baking channel. This week I'm sharing my very special recipe for oatmeal cookies. And what makes this special is the fact that it's gluten-free, which means you don't need to worry about finding wheat flour in the grocery store. You can just buy oat flour, which I've got right here. It has a very similar texture to wheat flour, but it's a tiny bit coarser as well. So let's get started with the recipe, and let me tell you a little bit about a chewy cookie trick. As you may have seen, I have uploaded a video on how to make inverted sugar, or also called invert sugar. And this is amazing for using in cookies, especially for those of you who like chewy cookies. So I'm gonna substitute a little bit of my granulated sugar with invert sugar. And this will make sure that it retains moisture, and high moisture equals chewy cookies. You can find a lot more information on invert sugar in the link in the description box below. And now let's move on to the oat flour. Like I said, this is a tiny bit coarser than wheat flour, so I do like to sift it just to make sure I don't have a lot of coarseness in the flour. So I'm sifting up to the point that I end up with about a tablespoon of these oat bits. And do not discard them, I will use them later in the cookies. Then I'm gonna add to this a little bit of cinnamon, baking soda and baking powder. I actually use less cinnamon than most oatmeal cookies because I like to have that clean oat flavor in my cookies. A little bit of salt. And we're ready to mix everything together. So this is a 1 bowl cookie. You only need the bowl and a nice spatula and you're ready to go. So I have my unsalted softened butter. This is at room temperature. And I'm just gonna beat this until it's nice and smooth. And to that I'm gonna add brown sugar. Again, building up on that molasses flavor and moisture. And I do add some granulated sugar. I didn't substitute the full amount of granulated sugar with invert sugar, because granulated sugar helps achieve this crunchy outer texture of the cookie, which I also want in a cookie. And in goes my invert sugar. And you want to beat all of this until it's nice and smooth. Now we're ready to add a little bit of vanilla extract. This is the umami flavor that we add to every dessert, or almost every dessert. And now I'm ready to add my 1 egg. This is a large egg and it's at room temperature. Otherwise you find that the batter might split a little bit, which is not the end of the world. You can always fix that when you add your dry ingredients. And we're ready to add that oats and spice mixture that we had before. And I'm just gonna dump the whole thing right into the bowl and stir to combine. And this is the texture of the cookie. You can see it's quite wet, but we're still gonna add some oats to this. I have a cup of jumbo rolled oats, and this is optional, of course, but I do like a little bit of chocolate in my oatmeal cookies. So this is half a cup of dark chocolate. And I'm just gonna stir this, combine it, and it will get thicker as those oats get incorporated. And I almost forgot, I can also add my oat bits from the sifted flour that we had before. It's just gonna help build that oat flavor. And this is our cookie dough. Now we're ready to scoop these out into even cookie balls. And for that, one of my favorite tools in the kitchen is the ice cream scoop. It gives me even cookies every single time. So I'm just about filling them all the way to the top. I can always add more if I find that I want a bigger cookie. And this will give you 13 medium cookies or 12 larger cookies. And you can see that I'm doing exactly what I just said. I want to have bigger cookies, so I'm adding a little bit of the leftover batter to all my 12 cookies. I'm not gonna bake these straight away because I don't want them to spread too much. I actually put them in the freezer for 2 hours and the butter will firm up, and this means that they won't spread as much and you will end up with a thicker cookie. Also, after 2 hours, the cookies are pretty much frozen enough for you to pack them up and freeze them if you like. I'm actually gonna bake only 5 of these and I'm gonna freeze the rest. If you want to freeze your cookies, you just need a sealed plastic bag and put them in once the individual cookies are frozen. You can freeze the dough like I'm doing, and these will last in your freezer for about 2 to 3 weeks, if not more. And here we go. This is what they look like when they come out of the oven. As tempting as it is to dig in, you really have to wait until they're completely cooled because they're really soft, and since there is no gluten in this recipe, the cookies are extremely delicate when they're warm and they will break easily. Just let them cool to room temperature and this is what you will get. Nice and soft, chewy center and crispy edges. And if you like this video, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more.